When the stars go blue. It's going on Jerome's beautiful victory Monday, but of course, allegedly, there's some other games that went down. Plus, I kind of like it when the Vikings don't play at noon on Sunday or the late window, whether they're prime time or on the bye, because it's kind of fun just watching all the other fan bases just like freak out during their games. I'm just like, oh, apparently we do that too. So Monday night still pending. You got the shorthanded Buccaneers playing the Chiefs. Whatever. Backtrack into Thursday night. Texans falling on the road against the Jets. I mean, Texans have myriad of injuries. Their offensive line is bad. CJ Stroud can't do this ish by himself. And the Jets, they did just enough to maybe not be sellers at the trade deadline. But, I mean, this season has 6-11, 5-12 written all over it. So, congratulations on your brief reprieve from the governor, but don't worry about it. New games. So the Falcons and the Cowboys. Zimmer versus Cousins, having the awkward pregame. Hey, how's it going? And then Kirk came out and dropped 3 touchdowns. Bajan had himself a great game too. And the Falcons really kept the Cowboys at bay. Dak tweaked up his hamstring during this game. CD also got nicked up. And it's a spot where I think the Cowboys are just finito. I mean, Mike McCarthy out here smashing iPads, which is the updated version of Smashing Pumpkins, since we're not in October anymore. All right. And Zimmer's defense has been bad, but it's been ravaged by injuries as well. But yeah, the Cowboys are just aimless. They're listless. And like Jerry Jones can deflect all he wants. Like, he said this offseason they were going to be all in. They didn't go after Derrick Henry. They didn't do anything strong in the draft. So they're kind of reaping what they're sowing right now. Right? But they extended Dak and CD, so awesome. You got the Bills and the Dolphins. Now, we said that this is going to be a close game. It feels like the Dolphins and the Bills are always a little bit snug in division, but Dolphins come up short. Tyler Bass drills a 61-yarder, which, I mean, good for him. I mean, Bass has been on the wrong side of some game-winning kicks, shanks, but, yeah. And the Bills, Josh Allen's amazing, man. Like, you can't go. I think that Josh Allen's going to be MVP, and rightfully so, although Lamar certainly might have something to say about that. And the Dolphins, it may just be too little too late. You know, getting Tua back, Achane had 2 touchdowns, which is fantastic. But I think that the Dolphins, they're just behind the 8 ball to start, and I don't think that they get back into this derby. But the Bills are looking like a wagon right now, man. And they got the Raiders and the Bengals, where the Raiders basically fired their entire offensive staff, which I think Antonio Pierce might be a one and done. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but I think it's true. Oh, the Raiders have a chance to do the funniest thing. So they can bring back Lane Kiffin to the Raiders. Now, his first stint with the Raiders, he and Al Davis obviously didn't see eye to eye, but I feel like Mark Davis could buy in. And if Lane brings that Lulu offense up from Ole Miss, I mean, why not? Lane and Shedeur Sanders with the Raiders. Come on, man. Also, do you know that there's 9 teams with 2 wins? Kind of insane, man. But the Raiders, basically offense was a no-call, no-show, and the defense wasn't much better. The Bengals put the bang thing on the Raiders. Joe Burr finally got things going, 5 touchdowns, so cool. Awesome. Although, I will say Jacoby Myers consistently puts up fantasy points for my team. Yeah, especially in PPR. Then you got the Chargers going into the Browns, and just getting things done. J.K. Dobbins had an amazing day, returning to Ohio, 2 touchdowns. Herbert threw for 2 as well. Quentin Johnston, like a long-ass touchdown reception as well. And the Browns, I mean, the Jameis Winston win against the Ravens last week was fun, but, I mean, this team just is bereft of talent, right? And the Watson trade and contract really is going to put them behind for the next couple of years, and they're just going to have to weather the storm. I don't know if our guy Stefanski and GM Andrew Berry will be there to weather the storm, but we'll see. And they got the Patriots losing to the Titans in overtime, which Drake May on that final play, man, just making something happen. You'd love to see that. But the Titans, who the Vikings play in 2 weeks, Mason Rudolph threw for a couple of touchdowns. Calvin Ridley's trying to gamble and get something going up here. Tony Pollard had a bazillion carries. Yeah, but this really was a battle for who's going to end up in the top 5, probably top 3 in the draft. And the Patriots tried to win at the end, but then they're just Plus, they had several healthy scratches of a couple of veterans, so it's pretty clear that they're going to be sellers at the trade deadline. We will take KJ Osborne back for free as wide receiver 6. I got the Commies getting it done on the road against the Giants. So this game was a lot more one-sided than the final score indicates. Although Daniel Jones finally threw another touchdown at MetLife Stadium. And a crazy stat is that the Chiefs won 2 Super Bowls in between Daniel Jones touchdown passes at MetLife, which is just depressing, isn't it? But Jaden Daniels still got things done yet again. The Commies and Dan Quinn, respect. I mean, they're 7-2, and they're a little bit patchwork in spots, as well as a little bit older with some veterans. But you like the ball that they're playing. And Jaden Daniels is going to be a talisman. Scary Terry McLaurin has to be the happiest dude out there. Finally get himself a quarterback. Next, Saints, Dennis Allen fired. You gone. Hey, remember after 2 weeks when Derek Carr was being touted as an MVP candidate and Clint Kubiak was seen as the next offensive genius? Everyone knew that the Saints were bad. They now dropped 7 in a row. They lost to the stupid Panthers, and yeah, it's just a wrap. Hey, but at least they re-signed Kamara. Awesome. And Derek Carr and his $52 million in cap hit next year. It's just depressing. Also, so one of the side stories is that Michael Thomas, a.k.a. Mr. Slants, during the game was tweeting about Derek Carr being asked thank you. Also, yeah, Cam Jordan, which you forget Cam Jordan is still on the Saints, just completely tweeting through it during the game as well. Carr putting Olave in the hospital again. And Frankie Olave has probably had like 4 or 5 concussions now. Talent is there, but he's got to consider like long-term. But I don't know. But yeah, this was the toilet bowl, and the Saints lost, which is kind of hilarious. Plus, given their cap situation, they're going to be bad for a while. You hate to see it. Couldn't have happened to a better team, nicer team. The Broncos, I mean, it was a battle of 5 and 3 teams, and the Broncos are clearly just not there. The defense imploded against Lamar and the Ravens, and also, Bo Nix fought the good fight. There's sort of respect there, but or whatever. Derrick Henry is just insane, man. Like, it really pisses me off that Derrick Henry wasted most of his career with the Titans. Like, he should have been a Raven this entire time. Right, he just seems like a Raven, doesn't he? Also, Zay Flowers went insane, a couple touchdown grabs, including a gorgeous catch and run, a little bit of pinball whizzer right before the half, and Lamar. I do think that it's Lamar and Josh Allen's MVP chase to lose, but we'll see. The Jaguars come up a little bit short against the Eagles in Philly. Saquon had that insane like backwards hurdle. That's the only feature they're going to add to the new Madden, and still charge you $80. But Jacksonville definitely should and could be sellers at the deadline. We got us some Cam Robinson. Why don't you send up some Ezra Cleveland as well? Why the hell not at this point? But Philly, I still don't know what to make of the Eagles. Like I think that they're fallible. I think that their 6-2 is hollow, unlike the Vikings 6-2, which is strong as oak. But you got the Bears just getting shot down in Arizona. So the Cardinals, who I've been backing for a long time, starting to put things together. They had multiple touchdowns on the ground, including Trey McBride rushing touchdown. So I had a decision with my fantasy team: either start Darnold or start Kyler Murray. Now I needed points in the matchup because I was behind. So I decided, okay, Kyler with his rushing ability, the Bears have several defenders out, and I feel like Kyler could put up some numbers. And then Kyler just has like the worst game ever. Like he didn't make mistakes, but he just literally did nothing. All he did was hand off the ball, and then the Cardinals running back just busted it. Like even the Trey McBride touchdown was a rush. Just frustrating. Yeah. But the Bears, Caleb Williams tweaked up his ankle in the game at the end. It's a night and day difference between the Christian Darrisaw situation, because the Vikings were still competitive before the half. But the Bears are frauds. They're fraudulent, and you just hate to see it. Right. And also the Bears offense, they're just a quarterback away, and then they'll be good. Yeah. Lions dog walk the Packers, which I don't know. I don't see it as the Lions winning. I see it as the Packers losing. But also, as we said a bunch, there's no moral victories in the NFL, but the fact that the Vikings went bar for bar with the Lions, and we'll see those mofos again. Yeah, bring it. But the Packers, hey, why'd you make Jordan Love the highest paid player in NFL history if he literally can't play in the elements? The pick six was probably the worst we've ever seen, and they did get some things going in garbage time. Congratulations, but this was a complete one-sided ass whooping. There's no two ways around it. But Brian Branch did deserve to be ejected. Now, a lot of people complain about in a vacuum, like it doesn't look that bad. Well, he led with the crown of his helmet and made contact with a defenseless receiver. Also, I think that there's a little bit of history built up with Brian Branch, especially the way he tried to decapitate Sling and Sam Darnold a couple weeks ago. So is what it is. Also, on that play, a Lions defensive lineman, trying to twist up Jordan Love's ankle, which. So when the Saints do it, it's the Saints being the Saints. But when the Lions do it, they're just they're just the lovable Lions. No, Lions are dirty. Let's be honest here. I got the Rams and the Seahawks. So the Rams go up to Seattle. They get it done in overtime. They cover, which I don't know. Like, this was not a good Rams game, but they got it done at the end. Geno threw a really terrible pick six. But it's really hard to say. Like, Seattle started out 3-0, and then they've gone 1-5 since, including 3 straight losses. And with the Rams, being relatively back to full strength, they're going to be interesting. Maybe they make a run for the division. Probably not pushing for a wild card, but you never know. Like, you can never count out Sean McVay. And then Colts and the Vikings. This is the weirdest game ever. I mean, the Vikings defense showed up and showed out. The Colts' only touchdown should have been called back because Sam Darnold got punched in the face. He had again on a scoring play. And Jefferson proved that he's him, as well as Addison. Hey, free three. Josh Oliver was the best tight end for the Vikings as they're easing T.J. Hawkinson back in. Cam Robinson looked really good at left tackle. And the Colts, like we said, are absolutely no slouch. Like, they're 4-4. They easily could have been 6-2. They were in every single game. I think that it was a mistake for them to go for Anthony Richardson to Flacco, but of course that's all hindsight. But the Vikings, they really shut down Jonathan Taylor Thomas. The receivers did really nothing of note, and Flacco looked uncomfortable all day. So it was a good win for the Vikings, even though things didn't start out perfectly, given the turnovers, as well as Will Reichard missing a couple. Hopefully that thigh is good to go, but a win is a win, and you have to be able to win ugly. You have to be able to win weird, and this was both. So there you go. But that's it. At Week 9 NFL recap. Got Bucks, whatever, against the Chiefs tonight. Chiefs -9. I don't think it's enough. Although, never count out Baker Mayfield, even though he doesn't have his top 2 receivers, even though they have injuries all over the place. You never know. Anyways, that's it. You guys know what to do. Skull production value.